Hello, How To Bob here, and I made this video to show you how I changed the shocks in a 2008 Chevrolet Equinox. So the first thing I'm going to do is remove the rear wheel, take off all the lug nuts, set the wheel off to the side. Then I'm going to remove all the little fender cover clips, the clips that hold the fender well cover on there, and you just pull the center part of the clip out, and then that will compress the center. If you look at it a little closer here, when you push it in, it spreads the inner part out and smashes it into the hole in the fender. So that's how those come out. And I'll just go around the outskirts of the fender, doing that for each clip that's holding this cover in. Some of them can be a little difficult. Small screwdriver works really well for these clips. You just have to pull the center out, and then the outer part is what you pry off once the inner clips out. And you can see there's a couple here, one over here, and all around the outside, even on the inside here, just anywhere you see a clip, that's where I'm going to remove them. So once I get all of the clips removed, there's one last nut that has to be removed, and that's up here in the top. So I take that one out, and then I can get behind the fender and pry the cover off. I'm using a plastic pry bar so I don't mar the paint. And I just work my way around the fender cover and slowly work it off so I can get that out of the way and access the shock. Okay, got that off. Here is the shock, and you can see that I've sprayed it down with some penetrating oil. I'm going to use an 18mm socket to remove this bolt, and then I'll remove this one down here as well. The bolts look like they're in pretty good shape, so I'm going to reuse those. And I need to pry the shock out. It's kind of wedged in there a little bit. So once I get that pried out, it's kind of stuck in there. I can compress it a little bit and help it get its way out of there, starting at the bottom, and then I'll just shake it a little bit and the top will pop right out. So before I put it back together, I'm going to put some Loctite on the threads of the bolts. And I can take my new shock and I'll start at the top, slide that into place, and I'll thread the bolt in, and then align the bottom, get that lined up, and then I can take my other bolt and slide that in. I have to pull down on this to get it lined up, so I'll use an additional jack to raise up the whole situation here to get the bolt to line up. Doesn't take much pressure, and then I can tighten up my bolt. I don't want to over tighten it, just give it a little snug there, and I can tighten the top one now. Loctite will take care of keeping that tight, and then I'll put my fender well cover back in. Just kind of work its way in there a little at a time and tuck the plastic behind the metal of the fender. And then I'll start with the nut, put that on first. That'll hold everything up. Get that tightened in. Then I can go back through and put all the clips in, get the holes lined up, and put all the clips back into place. And they just go in with the center part pulled out. Insert the clip and then push the center part in, and it spreads out on the other side of the hole, just like that. Sometimes it helps to push those in to fit through the hole a little bit better. So I'll do that for each one. And then just lock in all of the clips around the whole fender well until I have all of them completed. All right, so I've got all my clips in. I can put the wheel back on. I always start the lug nuts by hand as to make sure not to cross thread them. Once I get them started, I'll go through with my impact and tighten them down a little bit, snug them up, not too tight, because I'm going to come back through with my torque wrench, and that's going to be torqued down to 100 foot-pounds each one. And once I get those tightened, I can lower the car, and I have installed a new shock on a 2008 Chevrolet Equinox. If you like this video, be sure to subscribe and hit that bell icon for any new updates. I'm How To Bob. Thanks for watching.